All right, so this is a little bit a shift in direction from what we have been doing with simplifying rational expressions. We're going to look at graphing some rational equations. Um, this is the parent function. So there's always two curves, and they're in the upper right and lower left, and it's going to follow all the same graphing rules that we've had all year long. Okay, so the moving left and right, the flipping, and all of that. So here is kind of our roadmap, if you will. So this number on the top, we are going to ignore that. As far as the steepness, I'm not going to worry about that piece of it on these graphs. But we do want to look for positive or negative up there as far as flipping upside down. But these are going to be the same. So what is H going to tell you? Remember, that's always the opposite direction that you think it should go based on the sign. And what is this K telling you? Yep. So those green asymptotes that you see on the graph there are also going to shift with this. Questions there? Okay. So we're going to look at this. We're going to graph this. So first of all, the 5 right here, we're ignoring the steepness of it, okay? But where are we moving it? Where is this telling us to move? So we're moving left. That's the word I'm looking for. Where are we moving? All right, so we're going to move the asymptotes first. So the asymptotes start on the axes, but they are going to move left 3. So now your asymptote is here. And down 2 to right there. Now remember, the curves are going to hug up close to those asymptotes, but they'll never touch them. So there's 1, there's 2. You're done with your graph. So the asymptotes I'm going to ask for as well. So these are the equations of these green dotted lines. So what is the equation of this one right here? Is that x equals -3 or y equals -3? It's going through where x is equal to -3. So you know that that's the equation of that line. The horizontal line is y equals what? -2. Okay, so let's talk about what the domain and range would be. Oops. Okay, so the domain, we have a scanner. Okay, so pretend we have this scanner. It's going to travel to the right. So do we have an arrow that's pointing to -infinity? Yeah, it's right here. Okay, so we're going to go -infinity up to what? Okay, -infinity, and then it goes up to -3, but it doesn't touch -3, so we have to use a round parenthesis, not a square bracket. Okay, then there's going to be a gap right on -3 because the graph is never going to touch -3 anywhere, correct? Even the one on the right-hand side will never touch it. What does it start up again at for this second blue curve up here? It starts at -3 again, and it goes to infinity. Okay, so there's always going to be this jump over whatever the asymptote value is. So same thing with range, except we're starting at the bottom and we're scanning upwards. Okay, what's the first thing we run into? -infinity up to what? Up to -2. There's a jump, and then it starts again at -2 up to infinity. So you're going to see a pattern with these domains and ranges on these. Let's try one more before we jump to the homework. Okay. So tell me what we're doing. We're moving left 1 and up 5 and what? we're going to flip it. So it's going to be in the opposite two corners. Okay, that's the only thing that's different. So if we draw our asymptotes, we're going to go left 1, and we're going to go up 5. And now the curves are going to be in the opposite corners. So that means we're swooping over here and here. So what are the asymptote equations? X equals what? And y equals? 5. Okay, domain and range. Domain is what? Negative infinity. Remember, we're scanning left to right, so this arrow right here is saying negative infinity. Up to what? Negative 1. There's a jump, and then it starts at negative 1 to infinity. You're seeing the pattern here. Range starts at the bottom, so we start at negative infinity up to 5, starts at 5, goes to infinity. Any questions?